Yo! Welcome to a brand new video. Today's video is going to be about Gamera. If you don't know what Gamera is, I have a few videos talking about him already. A few videos talking about his movies and series that he's been in, full reviews. If you want to watch any of those, go over to the movie review tab and any of the other videos that are on my channel about him. There are a lot. He is a kaiju turtle with fireball breath, and he can fly like a UFO. He's pretty cool. He's pretty awesome. If you want to hear more about him and some of his kaiju outside of this video, like after you watch this video, then please go and check out my top 10 kaiju of all time and top 10 most terrifying kaiju of all time. Both of those videos have quite a few Gamera kaiju. And without any further ado, let me go ahead and explain what this video is. We are going to take all of his kaiju, or him included, all of the kaiju found within the Gamera Showa era, Heisei era, and the newest version of Gamera as of today, as of this date, which is December. It's December 30th, 2024. As of now, Gamera Rebirth is the newest version of Gamera. I have a few videos of talking about that too, and a whole video talking about Giron's design in it. If you want to hear me rant about Giron's redesign in Gamera Rebirth, then definitely go and check that video out. But without further ado, yeah, this is going to be a video where I rate all of them from 1 to 10, and then at the end I'll do a quick run-by of what my ranking of them all from worst to best is. None of these are horrible, and a lot of them are absolutely great, but let's go ahead and talk about them because some of them aren't as good as others. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Intro. Intro. Drop it down. Word to your mother. Like I said just a second ago, we are going to do the Showa era, then the Heisei era, then the Gamera Rebirth era, I guess. So yeah, let's start the Showa era out with Showa Gamera. Showa Gamera is one of the first kaiju the first kaiju movie that I ever watched was a Gamera movie. It was Gamera the Giant Monster, which is the American version of Gamera the Invincible, I want to say. And yeah, this is a pretty good movie. I went my entire life not knowing that it had some pretty big changes from the Japanese version, and this is the movie that got me super into Gamera and kaiju as a whole. I absolutely love this design. I think all throughout the Showa era, he has a solid design and a lot of really cool scenes. Everything about the Showa era is peak, I think. Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, we're starting out strong with this list. Next up, we got Giron. Giron is basically a giant kitchen knife, and yeah, he looks like a little bulldog with a knife head, and that's sick. He is basically these aliens' guard dog in Gamera vs. Giron, or Monsters Destroy All Planets, or what is it called? Destroy All Planets, I think is what it's called. There are two different versions and multiple titles for every single Gamera movie, especially in the Showa era, but this one I always just call Gamera vs. Giron. A lot easier to remember, and it's the version that I watched. This is one of my favorite kaiju of all time. You're gonna hear that a lot in this list. This is actually a very, very good kaiju. I think he looks really cool. He's very simple design. He looks like a bulldog, which is what I already said, and I absolutely love that because he's basically two alien chicks, guard dog, and I just really like that, and I think he's really cool. He doesn't have a normal atomic breath or fireball breath or laser or anything like that. He has two shurikens that shoot from his head, where that little circular part on the blade is, which is absolutely awesome. I think that's a really cool thing to differentiate him. I just think that that's a really cool thing. This is definitely a solid 9 out of 10 on the whole design and every way they use him in the movies. You know, I just now realized I never said how I am going to rate these guys, so I'm doing it over look and how they are in the movies in general. So this is very very look based, I guess. Whichever one just looks the best is gonna get a higher score, but it's also whichever one has a better feel in the movie. Like if they don't if they don't really do much in their movie, they're not going to get very much of a high score. You know what I mean? And speaking of that, we got Barugon. Barugon is, man, I think he's the first one that Gamera ever fights, to be honest, in the him fighting kaiju. Yep, it goes Gamera, the giant monster, and then straight on to Gamera versus Barugon. And Barugon is pretty cool. His design is pretty cool. Everything about him is pretty cool. The rainbow beam is a little out of nowhere, and the frost breath with the giant tongue that comes out and sprays liquid nitrogen or whatever is sick. I think that's all a really cool power set. I've always, like, since the Godzilla x Kong, the new one came out, I have been wanting to see a Shimo versus Barugon fight, but no one has made it. I might end up having to make it. If you want that video, definitely comment and tell me, and, you know, drop a like if you want to. Wink, wink. But yeah, Barugon is definitely, I think Barugon is a solid 7.5 out of 10, honestly. Okay, now we have Jiger. Jigger. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, Jiger. Jiger is actually a really cool design. I think he's really cool. He's just a giant triceratops thing with multiple horns. They fire out. I mean, Jiger is pretty cool. I mean, that's it. Jiger's pretty cool. The design isn't bad, and honestly, I think it would be fine to give Jiger a 7 out of 10. I think 7 out of 10 is honestly perfect for Jiger. Not below average, but definitely not doing much to differentiate itself from any other Triceratops looking kaiju. Showa era Gyaos is one of my favorite kaiju of all time. Like I said, you're going to hear that a lot in this video. And I think that Gyaos deserves a solid 9 out of 10, to be honest. Like, his design is so good. Everything about Showa era Gyaos is just perfect. I love it. I have an action figure of it somewhere in my boxes. But yeah, I absolutely love Gyaos. His design is sick. He's like a giant pterodactyl thing with a laser beam. He was the start of my whole kaiju with a laser beam are the best ones, because I genuinely still believe that. I think laser beams are really, really cool. Better than fireballs and breath and everything else, because laser beams, it just pierce straight through stuff, and it's really cool. And his laser beams bouncing off of Gamera's shell was always a really cool sight to see in the movies, and yeah, Gyaos is definitely a 9 out of 10. Okay, next up we got Zigra. Zigra is actually a movie that I watched fairly recently, actually. I have a collection of 4 Gamera movies that are in English that I grew up with, and I also had a collection of every single Gamera movie from the Showa era all the way down to the Heisei era that is in Japanese, that I watched a few of them and then just skipped over some of them for some reason. I can't remember. I was like a little kid whenever I watched all of these, and I still watch all of them still. I did a review over Gamera the Guardian of the Universe for the my first watch through, actually. And yeah, you should go and watch that. I have a live reaction up in the movie reviews and a full-on just regular movie review. You should definitely go and watch those if you are interested in my thoughts, or you haven't seen them and you don't know whether you want to watch them. Yeah, you just go and watch them. Zigra is a very cool design. I think the Zigra design in the Showa era is really cool. Like I said, I watched it recently, so I don't know. Zigra's really cool. The movie itself is kind of low on my ratings, I would have to say. I might comment and tell me if you want to see me rate all of the Gamera movies, actually, because I would love to do that, but I want to make sure people actually want to see it. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, actually, but this is just a little fun thing for me to do while I'm like working on other stuff too. But yeah, this is, I don't know, Zigra is a solid 8 out of 10, I'd say. 8 out of 10, yeah. Showa era Zigra, they're like actually pretty good 8 out of 10. Virus is next. Okay, Showa era Virus is sick. Like, he's actually just really cool. He's really goofy looking, but also really, really cool. The way he just smacks the business dudes, and there he like get chopped in half and then become himself, and then they all fuse. It's really cool. If you haven't seen Gamera versus Virus, you need to watch it. It's a really weird movie. It's a lot of flashbacks to other Gamera movies, which is a little bit boring at times. It's really boring at times, especially if you've seen them all. But the ending fight with Virus is definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen. I think Virus's design would perfectly belong in Gigabash. Like I already said, I've been a huge advocate for bringing Gamera and Virus into the Gigabash game as a DLC or literally anything. But as of right now, as of how good Virus is outside of everything except his own movie, design wise, it's goofy looking, but it's cool. It's a very, you can tell what it's supposed to be. It's just an octopus alien, and it has the weird eyes, which is really cool, and the beak looks really cool. I would personally, I think this is another 8 out of 10 kaiju, maybe a 7.5, but right now I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And next up we have Gara Sharp. If you don't know what Gara Sharp is, it is a kaiju that shows up in a short film called Gamera vs. Gara Sharp. I watched it on YouTube. I'm sure it's still up on YouTube if you want to go and check it out. You definitely should if you want to. Gara Sharp is actually a pretty cool kaiju, a giant snake with a scorpion tail and some weird poison mist breath. This is a very cool design that I really, really dig, and the height difference between him and Gamera is very, very noticeable and makes him a very intimidating creature for Gamera to have to face. And it's honestly impressive just how much of an impact that Gara Sharp has within this short film, because I think the design's sick, and I think the fight is pretty good. And honestly, yeah, you should go and check out this short film if it's still on YouTube. It's really good. But yeah, this is, I don't know, Gara Sharp is a pretty cool one. I'd give it, for the small amount of time that we see it, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. Okay, that was all of the Showa era out of the way, so now we're moving on to the Heisei era. Let's talk about Heisei Gamera. Yeah, this is a sick design. I like this. This is like a dark, gritty version of Gamera, and I kind of absolutely love it. It's like the Dark Knight Returns of Gamera. It's beautiful. This is a solid 10 out of 10. Legion is a really cool kaiju design. Legion made it onto the top 10 most terrifying kaiju of all time video that I made, and for good reason. He's scary. He's like a bone crab centipede thing, and it's just creepy. Legion is a weirdo, and I love it for that. Honestly, Legion is a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. Just great design, great power set, everything about it is awesome. But honestly, everything in the Heisei era is kind of peak. Heisei era Gyaos is honestly scarier whenever it is in its youngling form, but it is cooler whenever it's an adult form. But I'm going to take both forms and put them into one creature, because that's literally what it is. It's just the life cycle of a Gyaos. So, little Gyaos is horrifying. Just little bloodthirsty freaks that can't really control the beams. And then the big Gyaos is just a, normal Gyaos. I did not think that I liked the redesign for the head shape of the little Gyaos until I actually looked at it and saw what they were trying to go for. I like the more bat-like appearance and everything with the little Gyaos, and I think the head shape change is good. It's good, but I also think that original Gyaos is better, just because, well, I mean, come on, that's what I grew up with. Of course I think it's better. But the fight with Big Gyaos and everything is absolutely amazing. I genuinely love that fight. I think this is one of the best kaiju movies ever made. Yeah, this is awesome. Just look at Gyaos right there fighting, about to get ready to fight Gamera. I love it. Yeah, this Gyaos design is like a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I think yeah, 9 out of 10 for me is pretty good. That's, yeah, 9 out of 10 for this design. I like this, and oh, but everything in the movie, like all the stuff that Gauss does and everything, is pretty cool. I'd say Heisei Gauss is a 10 out of 10 actually. Iris is an automatic 10 out of 10. Like, look at that. There's nothing cooler than that. It looks like Lord Zed and Gauss had a baby, and then a weird serpent came in and became its arms, and a scorpion gave it its spikes to stab stuff with. I mean, seriously, look at that design. That is just the coolest thing ever. Those feet are unrealistically hype for me. I don't know why. I just like the design of its feet. It has like two giant metal toes. It's kind of like hooves, except weirder. This is such a sick design. This is so cool. Dude, Iris is just peak design right there. This is a like Dragon Ball Z villain type of design, and I absolutely adore it. Like, this looks like it would be perfectly fine in a fighting anime or something. Like, come on. Come on, this thing looks like it should be blowing up planets. This is just awesome. Okay, next up we got Zetus. Zetus is basically a spiky iguana Godzilla. That's basically what he is. And I simultaneously dig it and also wish that they would have done something more original. But honestly, I think Zetus is a solid, like, 8 out of 10. Honestly, I think the design alone is sick. Honestly, I feel like this belongs more in the movie Zilla than in a Gamera movie, but I still think it's a good design. I think this would have been a better design for Zilla than the design that we got in the American Godzilla movie. I think this would have been cool. Like, if they went iguana with it, I think that would have been really sick. But yeah, this is a solid 8 out of 10. Just with the fight, and its design. Its design is definitely pushing it up there. I like the design. It's slowly grown on me over the years. Okay, now we are on to the Gamera Rebirth designs. I've made a few videos talking about the Gamera Rebirth design. I've made a tier list for all of the kaiju, and honestly, I feel like my views on them have probably changed a little bit. I can't really remember how I thought about them then. Maybe they've stayed the same, I don't really know. But as with all of the other eras, let's start with his design. You know, Gamera's design, the big boy. Gamera looks pretty sick in this. This is a really good mix of the normal Showa era and the Heisei era, with a little bit of its own spin with how the shell and just the scales and everything look. And I love the glowing eyes. I think the glowing eyes actually look pretty sick. Yeah, I don't know. This is a solid 9 out of 10. This is the first one that isn't a 10 out of 10, but I don't really know why. I don't have it in me to give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know what it is about the design. I just like the other two better. Okay, I made an entire, like, 20-minute long video talking about Giron's design in this show, and yeah, it's still not working for me. I like original Giron better. The original Giron is one of my favorite kaiju of all time, and this is just I don't know. It's just not working for me, to be honest. I'd give this a 6 out of 10 on the drip meter, and honestly, the fight they have is pretty good though. I like how he fights. I'd give it a 6.5. Yeah, the fighting bumped him up a little bit, but yeah, 6.5, I guess. I actually grabbed a picture of Jiger that puts it up against the oh my god, Showa era. I keep on getting them mixed up. I'm not okay today. The Showa era and the Rebirth era, or Rebirth show, I guess, is not a whole era, but whatever, are basically the same. The top horn arches down a little bit more. They added new horns and made the old ones longer. I think the back spikes look cooler, and they made its skin a little bit redder, and they made it more intently a Triceratops with the head armor thing. I don't know what, like, paleontologists call that thing on a Triceratops head, but yeah, this is a much better redesign, I want to say. I don't know if people are gonna get mad at me over that. Do we have any Jiger heads in this chat. We need the comment and tell me if you're a huge Jiger head. But yeah, I think this redesign is better. Like, this is just a better redesign. I'd give this one I'd give it an 8. I don't even remember what I gave Showa era Jiger, but I don't think I gave it an 8 or higher. But yeah, this one is better. I think it just looks cooler. It's more defined, and the little webbed spikes on the back just look cooler on this one. To be honest, it looks way cooler. But yeah, this is just a really good redesign. Okay, we're back to Gyaos. Gyaos in the Rebirth series is weird. I don't know. Gyaos is cool in this one, but it's more just giant pterodactyl than usual. I wish they would have given it a more like man in the suit type of look, because it would have differentiated it from a giant pterodactyl. But whatever. This is a pretty cool redesign. Whenever the giant one starts fighting him, there's a lack of difference between tiny Gyaos and giant Gyaos. They're basically exactly the same. That's what I was saying, because the small Gyaos in the Heisei era were like giant pterodactyl bat things with lasers, and then once you get to the giant one, it's like a man in a suit looking giant pterodactyl thing. But this one stays pterodactyl all the way through, and then just becomes a giant pterodactyl, or more like a dragon, I guess. But yeah, I'd say I still like this design. I think it's a solid. I think the Gyaos design in Rebirth is a solid 7.5 out of 10. The Zigra in Rebirth is like a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. It's in one episode. This is a very Monster of the Week type of series where the kaiju just show up, and then there's a fight, and then the next episode happens, and then the next kaiju shows up, and then they have a fight, and it goes on like that until the end of season 1, and hopefully we're getting a season 2. But yeah, Zigra is... Yeah, Zigra kind of looks just like Gyaos in the head, like the head shape and everything. They had it really good and differentiated in the Showa era, but now it's just kind of looks like a white Gyaos that's underwater. Its power set is pretty cool. Its fight is pretty cool, I guess. I'd say it's one of the lesser fights. I think this and the Jiger fight are basically on the same realm in this series. But yeah, it's a 6 out of 10. I don't know. It's just above average. This Virus redesign is absolutely peak. I love this. Oh my god. They did everything I would ever want. They did not keep it goofy, which makes me slightly sad. I do like the goofy Showa era type of monsters. But they did make it an absolute beast. They, all the way through it, they're glazing the man. They're just like, oh, he's the strongest kaiju ever. He'll be able to take down Gamera and non-stop. He'll put the smackaroonie right on Gamera's face and tushy. And I was like, okay, let's see this. And then he shows up and he's a giant octopus with like yellow armor all over him. That's sick. And then the way he fires is his head opens up and charges up a beam and then shoots it. And then the way he flies is he just goes upside down and does that upside down. This is just a really good redesign. This is a really good redesign. I like this. I do like this. I'd say this is the best redesign in Rebirth, and the way that they're glazing my man, saying that he's just the strongest there ever was and everything, and then Gamera takes him down fairly easily, is actually just amazing. I love it so much. I'd say that's pretty much how this series goes, though. They glaze the hell out of the kaiju that's showing up for the episode, and then they get taken down by the end, and it's pretty good. Gamera is top G, though. But yeah, Virus, this redesign, absolutely sick. This is like a 10 out of 10 design. I absolutely love this, and the way it uses its moves and its tentacles and its beam and everything is just so good. I love this. This is good design right here, boys. But yeah, this is absolutely peak right here. I know I should have put Toto Gamera at the Heisei era, like right above Zetas or right below, but I wanted to save him for the end because he's a very good, very cute little man. I love him. Could you imagine what would happen if the Baby Yoda crowd found Toto Gamera? They would flock to the kaiju genre and not know why. This man's eyes are so cute. I love Toto Gamera so much. If anyone ever tried to hurt them, I would murder them on the spot. I love him so much. He's so cute. I'd kill for this man. But yeah, Toto Gamera, 10 out of 10. Like 100 out. Dude, let's give him a million out of 10. I think that's good. Okay, yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all of that type of stuff. And as always, see ya!